writers! Welcome back. I'm really excited for another week of writing with you. Our learning target for writing today is I can zoom in or focus on a small moment for my story. What does it mean to zoom in or focus on something? Well, it means to take something that you're seeing from far away and look at just one part of it. Here is a whole page of our Pigeon Book. Let's zoom in on or focus in on one part. Here I've zoomed in and now I have focused. I've made it big, the only thing I'm looking at, easy to read and clear. So we're going to try that with our writing today. We're going to take a story that we've already written that has lots of different parts to it, places we've gone, people we were with, and we're going to zoom in on just one moment inside of that story. I'm going to show you an example that I did. I wrote a story about going to my grandmother's house, and I wrote about all of the things that my grandma and I did that day. But for today, I took one moment in that story, a moment where we were baking cookies together, and I zoomed in on that time and wrote lots and lots of details about just baking cookies with Grandma. Watch my example. This is a book that I've already written called Grandma's House by Mrs. McDonald. It says, I went to my grandma's house. I was happy. So I showed a feeling on this page. We like to make cookies. They taste good. And I used a speech bubble. It says, yum. We go to the park. I like it. Now this story tells all about a trip to my grandma's house, but it is not a focused story on a small moment. It tells lots of different things. It tells about going to the house, baking cookies at the house, going to the park with Grandma. This is a lot of different moments with my grandmother. Well, today we're going to focus on one small moment inside of our stories. And we're going to use all of our writing strategies, like showing and telling feelings, like adding action words, using word wall words, stretching to spell, speech bubbles, all of it. We're going to use all of it to focus in on a small moment. And today, my small moment is going to be this page right out of the book. So it says, we like to make cookies, they taste good. I'm going to turn this one page of my story into a whole story of its own. So to do that, I'm going to get a new book, but I'm going to use what I've started in my first book to have that idea to focus in on. So this book is going to be all about cookies with Grandma. Make sure that I'm thinking of a time that I baked cookies with my grandma, and I'm going to write about that time with all the details that I can. Even my title looks different. From Grandma's house to The Time I Made Cookies with Grandma by Mrs. McDonald. I wrote, we like to make cookies. They taste good. But now I'm going to write the story about a time that I made cookies with my grandma. We made a kind of cookie called a peanut butter blossom. My first sentence says, one day I got to make peanut butter blossoms with my grandma. My next sentence is showing and telling feelings. I smiled and hugged her. I was happy. And here's my picture with details and speech bubbles. Do you want to make cookies? Yes. Next page, I'm going to tell lots of little details about what happened to make those cookies. To do that, I'm going to use action words. Here is my detail about the actions we took. My grandma mixed the dough with her hands. I unwrapped the chocolates. We made balls and put them in the oven. And there's my picture of putting the cookies in the oven. And my last page has even more information about this moment with my grandma. It says, when the cookies came out, I put a chocolate in the middle of each one. I ate the biggest one. It tasted good. What a fun day. So let's compare these two stories. One that tells about an entire day at Grandma's house and all of the things we did throughout the day, and one that focuses in on just one small moment. Grandma's House by Mrs. McDonald. I went to my grandma's house. I was happy. We like to make cookies. They taste good. We go to the park. I like it. On this page, we like to make cookies. They taste good. This is the story I chose to zoom in on or focus on to make my focused small moment story, The Time I Made Cookies with Grandma. One day, I got to make peanut butter blossoms with my grandma. I smiled and hugged her. I was happy. Do you want to make cookies? Yes. My grandma mixed the dough with her hands. I unwrapped the chocolates. We made balls and put them in the oven. When the cookies came out, I put a chocolate in the middle of each one. I ate the biggest one. It tasted good. What a fun day. Notice how when we choose one small moment to focus in on, our stories really are more interesting. Our learning target today is I can zoom in or focus on a small moment for my story. I can't wait to see your small moments and all of the details that you have to tell me about them. All right, writers, off you go.